Welcome back to Digital Transformation in Government, sponsored by Verizon Enterprise Solutions on federalnewsradio.com and 1500 AM. I'm your host, Jason Fornicola, and my guests today are George Fisher, Senior Vice President of Verizon's Global Sales, and Mike Majorana, Senior Vice President of Verizon's Public Sector Sales. Mike, how would you define this digital transformation we're experiencing?
Think of the expectations of anyone with a smartphone these days, right? From a child all the way up to a senior. Constituents want instant access and to information. They want the ability to work with a website, for example, input data, get led down the right path to complete an application or to request a service. It's the Amazon Prime mentality, instant gratification, giving a valued service for the limited time that somebody has. So the digital transformation, when you think about the services and technologies that a Verizon brings to bear with our networks, with our smartphones, with our cloud environment, with our transport, it ultimately is meeting the expectations of our customers who have extremely high expectations. There's an insatiable appetite our customers have for consumption of data.
George?
Yeah, what's happening is everyone is building either a new service or an application, a product, all based on the network. So the ability to interact quickly, seamlessly, anywhere you're located is becoming table stakes. And that's creating an ability for government organizations and corporations all around the world to deliver faster and quicker. And the organizations that don't do that are at a disadvantage. And the ones that do it faster and better seem to be gaining competitive advantage.
Mike, how will these transformations, these initiatives, help government meet their missions and fulfill their services to the American people?
The American people want government to deliver a higher level of service, right? A speedier service, more reliable service, service that ultimately they can benefit from, well, the taxpayer dollars that they're spending on these so-called services. So the digital transformation that is happening and occurring, leveraging the technologies that we've spoken about, will help government.
We see and hear a lot in the government about doing more with less. How will that impact where we're going in the future, say 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
There is a tremendous amount of effort to execute on today, but there's also a lot of smart people working towards the future. Understanding that technology roadmap is something that Verizon does very well with our customers, sitting them down, discussing how they would ultimately implement a software-defined network, for example, how they will evolve to a cloud, how they will put a managed security service in place using a trusted provider like Verizon. Ultimately sharing with government what we know, because we are in the business, because we have the right partners, we have the infrastructure partners as well, and again, we've got the commercial customers holding us accountable to do this, and we can share that with government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've built the expertise and certainly the scale to help manage all of these complex environments that really need to be very simple, right? So the ability for a cloud delivery platform, the ability to have a very massively scalable network work with very little trouble for the end user or the people that are building these applications are what is demanded. So you're going to see an increased emphasis on software-defined networking, on the ability to have on-demand compute power so that you can do things like big data, so that you can deploy applications in any form factor. Mm-hmm. And the expectations for that are real, and the capability that Verizon has built meets that objective.
When you look at where we were with technology even 10 years ago, wow, we've come a long way. Yeah. Where do you think we're going in the next 10 years?
Just imagine the power of the network that you have in your hand today, a 4G LTE network that offers high bandwidth, vivid video capabilities, for example. Customers like that, but they're going to want more. Ultimately, what we see in the next 10 years is government further understanding what industry can bring to bear, understanding how to cobble those solutions together across the network, across a security platform connected to the cloud. And when I say network, I'm not just talking terrestrial network, I'm talking wireless network, both inside and outside, a mobile-centric environment, potentially using one device UC, Unified Communications and Collaboration, is already beginning to take off. That will be table stakes in 10 years.
And you see how this technology is impacting even the physical space in government, right? Like some agencies are consolidating.
The GSA has done a marvelous job in their smart building initiative, their reinvigoration, and has put in video monitoring, climate monitoring, all to help deliver better services to the constituents as well as reduce the spend.
And you see the initiatives associated with teleworking as well and some of the benefits there.
Not only helping traffic in the area, but certainly getting work done anytime, anywhere, any place with a reliable network foundation.
George, your thoughts?
Well, 10 years is a long way out, but at least in the next 5 years, I see that access to technology is going to become increasingly easier for organizations that maybe 10 years ago could not afford that power and capability. So you're going to see more and more services provided in a flexible way. People will have more choice about how they access service or how they buy products and how they live and work. And that's why we're excited to be part of it. The network is enabling advances almost in every industry, whether it's healthcare or whether it's public safety. And I think we're just at the beginning of the next revolution of how the internet and how networks are going to be used.
And Mike, your final thoughts?
I just want to thank all the Verizon customers in the audience, whether it be a consumer customer, an enterprise, or a government customer. Verizon is very proud to be able to deliver the level of services we do here in the nation's capital.
George?
I would just echo that. We appreciate the opportunity to collaborate and to build an ability to execute for everybody. And we're very proud of what Mike and what his business is doing here to basically be the firm that does exactly what it says it's going to do.
That's all the time that we have for today. I'd like to thank my guests, George Fisher, Senior Vice President of Verizon's Global Sales, and Mike Majorana, Senior Vice President of Verizon's Public Sector Sales, on digital transformation in government, sponsored by Verizon Enterprise Solutions. I'm your host, Jason Fornicola, and you're listening to federalnewsradio.com and 1500 AM.